Continuing on Law Weekly today, a global perspective on combating terrorism.
They're trying to destroy the very idea of law. We cannot let them succeed.
What the African continent and indeed Nigeria need to get right to continue to attract foreign investment and patronage, plus lessons from the International Bar Conference IBA 2013.
In addition to enjoying the sessions, we have also been studying very closely the way the IBA conferences are organized.
We have footage you've never seen on any Nigerian screen. Welcome to Law Weekly on Channels Television. I am Shola Shele. It's a delight to be back on your screen after a month-long vacation. One of the things I did during the vacation was to attend the International Bar Association Conference IBA 2013, which held in October in Boston, Massachusetts, in the United States of America. The IBA is the largest yearly gathering of lawyers from all over the world, and it's regarded as the global voice of the legal profession. The 2013 edition attracted 6,000 international delegates from 120 countries. On this episode of the program, we'll play back the highlights of the conference. We also have the highlights from the African Regional Conference when the IBA came to Lagos last week. But first, let's do a quick recap of some of the top stories from the courts.
We begin with a report that the Supreme Court last week Monday affirmed the judgment of the Court of Appeal in Port Harcourt, which declared Mr. Tony Nwoye as the authentic candidate of the People's Democratic Party ahead of the November 16th governorship election in Anambra State. The appeal court had overturned the decision of the Federal High Court Port Harcourt, which had earlier declared Mr. Nicholas Ukachukwu as a candidate. Dissatisfied, Mr. Ukachukwu, through his counsel Joseph Daudu, a senior advocate of Nigeria, had approached the Apex Court asking it to set aside the verdict. In dismissing the appeal, the five-man panel chaired by Justice Mahmood Mohammed said Mr. Ukachukwu's claim that he was denied fair hearing could not stand because it was clear from the papers before the court that he was given the opportunity to present his case.
I thank the court today for the bench ruling they gave as it concerns the motion for stay of precedent filed against delivering the judgment at Court of Appeal. It shows that this judiciary is the last hope of common man. I thank God that the judiciary rose to the occasion. I thank God that it was expeditiously heard and ruling delivered.
Yeah, they say we'll give their full reasons on the 20th of December. But they have already said we should go to the Court of Appeal and conclude.
Staying with politics and the PDP, the Court of Appeal last week Wednesday held that the Federal High Court in Abuja was wrong in its judgment, which removed the former Osun State Governor Olagunsoye Oyinlola as the National Secretary of the PDP. In a judgment read by Justice Joseph Thor, the appeal court held that the application filed by the leadership of the Ogun State PDP and on which basis the former governor was sacked was an abuse of court process. The appellate court was of the opinion that Justice Abdul Kafarati of the Federal High Court ought not to have entertained the application by the Ogun PDP, which it did, as there were two appeals pending before the appellate court when the trial court gave its judgment. Invoking Section 15 of the Court of Appeal Act, the court held that the lower court infringed on Prince Oyinlola's fundamental human right to fair hearing. In the meantime, the Ogun State chapter of the party has approached the Supreme Court to review the decision with a view to setting it aside.
We recognize from reading the judgment that the position we had taken to the court were not at all addressed by the court and are not in any way impugned or detracted from by the judgment of the court. In fact, we are strongly of the opinion that that judgment needs to be tested in the Supreme Court, especially because the three findings upon which the judgment of the appeal court are based were predicated on information that was never in the record before the Court of Appeal. And we wonder where that information came from. For instance, the idea that there are three different suits filed to enforce the order of the Federal High Court, which nullified the Southwest Congress, is totally incorrect. There is no evidence of that nature on the record of the court because it doesn't exist.
If the umpire is so declared, I don't see how anybody else would say things have not been done appropriately. And I think the judgment we had earlier did not take cognizance of the dictates of the constitution of the party. It is the right of PDP to go to the upper court, but I don't think that will change the facts of the case. And we will all go there to present our cases before the Supreme Court. And I have no doubt in my mind that justice will equally be served at the Supreme Court.
From the appeal court in Abuja, we move over to the Ogun State High Court sitting in Abeokuta. Last week Thursday, the court adjourned till February 2014 the trial of the former governor of the state, Otumba Gbenga Daniel. The former governor is being prosecuted by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, for fraudulent conversion of land as well as diversion of public funds. He has, however, pleaded not guilty to the charges and has also filed an appeal against the ruling of the High Court, which turned down his application to quash the charges. And we round off in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, where the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission last week Thursday arraigned former head of service of the state, Iyabo Adeleke, and 11 others at a state high court for their alleged involvement in the disappearance of 5.6 billion naira from the state local government staff pension board account. The money was allegedly obtained by false pretenses, forgery, conspiracy, and stealing. The EFCC alleged that the sum of 5.6 billion naira was withdrawn by the accused persons on the pretense that it was meant for the payment of gratuity of various pensioners in the state who were teachers. The accused persons have all pleaded not guilty to the charges.